You notice children, they play together no matter what color, where they come from, who they are. They just love each other. Love is in between them. God is in between them. He holds them. They're innocent.
I just wanted to start this episode with a message of thanks. Thank you to everyone that chooses to listen to this podcast. By doing this, you're enabling me to reach more people so that they might learn how to unchain the pain to live a healthier, happier life. The feedback that I get from those that take action and are inspired by the show's content is incredibly rewarding. So I'd like to ask you a teeny tiny favour. You are truly able to change the course of this podcast, the types of guests I have on this show, and everything that I do by doing one simple thing. And that is simply hitting the subscribing button. The guests on this podcast are incredible because so many of you have hit that button. When I think of what I want to do this year on this show, this is fueled by the amount of you that subscribe, that tune in, and that comment on the show's content. So please keep subscribing, keep commenting. Any type of comment, please keep them coming, and keep sharing the shows that you find inspiring. I can't wait to see what this year brings for this show, for you, for my community, and for this platform. Thank you. I am joined by the wonderful Aimmee Kodachian on the show today. Welcome to the show, Aimmee.
Thank you for having me.
So for those that don't know Aimmee Kodachian, not Kardashian, she is a 2-time global award winner known as an Inspirational Influential Global Impact and Global Women Peace Ambassador. And she is the author of Tears of Hope, which I read, and it's absolutely a beautiful book, and also author of the new book, Tears of Hope, a miraculous story of a 12-year-old girl's message to humanity. And I know that we met a long time ago now, it feels.
And I had you on my show.
Yes, where I was talking from hope to happiness. And I know that your story is one from hope to happiness as well. So I'd love for you, before we dive into your story, because I don't want to give the story away. I know you've been on the show before on episode 4 and you've shared it there, but I know we're going to dive into it a bit more deeply in terms of the message from a 12-year-old girl. I'd love to know what you are passionate about in life right now.
Passionate about making a difference in the world. It's an opportunity that I'm alive. And I think since the day my life was saved, I appreciated that I'm kind of living, and there is a reason. And it's just passion always to help others understand what happened to the children, what happened to them when they when they live through a war, how they feel, where they come from. I'm very passionate about speaking for them, being their voice, basically.
And you've had an incredible story of survival from your journey through the Lebanon war. I wonder if you would take us to the start of that, because it starts quite abruptly, if you don't mind sharing.
You know, I would like to say something here, because, you know, sometimes we could help others even though we didn't go through what they went through. We can have compassion about them, but speaking for them, you have to go through the experience. You have to experience that, whatever it might be, you have to experience it in order to convey their pain and have you to help them. So therefore, what I experienced as 12-year-old, it allowed me to be the voice, and it's given me the opportunity now to be the voice for all the children who's suffering or suffered through the war, and what happened to them when they got older. How are we helping our generation to come? for what's happening right now. And in my book, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. When you're a child, you don't know any difference. You notice children, they play together no matter what color, where they come from, who they are. They just love each other. Love is in between them. God is in between them. He holds them. They're innocent. And that means the world to me, to express my love for the children suffers, because I saw my brother suffer through the war as well when he was 6 years old. And my daughter grew up in the war as well. And I grew up in the war. So I could witness the children suffering around me. But my personal experience, I could share really quickly, because I want to go into the more healing and why we're doing this and how we help and all that stuff. I mean, my story, it's a book, as you know. It's a long story, but we're gonna make it short today. What happened, I was 12 years old, dealing with the learning disability, dyslexia, and I had no hope or opportunity. The war just started and we were going to leave to Egypt. I was sitting in the living room after a family meeting, talking to my older brother, Robert. He was 20, I was 12. And he was giving me hope that I will become a teacher or a lawyer one day to defend children who have dealing with learning disability. And he gave me the confidence that I can do it with his help. He needed to get his tea from the kitchen, and selfishly, I wanted him to stay in the room. I said, "You stay here. I'll go get your tea." And he looked at me with his eyes, with the love to his sister, that he's gonna promise to do what he's gonna do for me to help me out. And I left the room and I took like 2 steps. Basically, the wall was between us towards the kitchen. And the second step, a bomb flew through the window to that living room, and Robert was obviously gone. I turned around, or I could see the room in flame, and fire. The pieces of metals that will have killed me if I didn't take one step was all over the wall. Dust, and on my left hand, the other room, my mother tried to throw herself through the window. Chaos went on. My father was looking at me like, "Are you okay?" I'm looking at my brother burning, my mother trying to kill herself, jumping from the window because she panicked.
Sure.
And at that moment, my life changed, and the bombs start coming one after another. And with each one, I was shaken to my core. My life completely changed as a child. I no longer was the innocent 12-year-old. I wanted to be the responsible for everything. So the whole world changed at that moment. And the story from there, just it took on 13 years, escaping death many times, becoming homeless, married at three days after my 14th birthday, having a child, basically getting pregnant at 14, having a child 3 months after my 15th birthday.
Wow.
And having my second child didn't survive because I wasn't taken care of, from the bomb, from the health wise, mentally, physically, emotionally. The baby was suffocating, and then he was born with a heart hole in his heart, and he didn't survive. I didn't even carry my baby. And becoming a single mother, still teenager, had to take care of my daughter when I didn't have education, fourth grade education, severe dyslexia, in the war, being judged by my husband left the country, and I had to go back to my parents where they couldn't take care of me in the first place, now with the child. So escaping death many times, that's a little bit of the story that I could share today. But throughout that story, something miraculous happened. Many times, my life was saved, but something miraculous happened when they when that bomb happened, they took me and my 6 years old brother. They put me in the mountain in a rundown boarding school for safety. And the road cut off between Beirut and the mountain. We had no water, barely any water, no electricity, barely any food, like really pieces of bread with paste tomato on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we ate like once or twice, if we were lucky, a day, this small piece. And the bomb was dropping at in Beirut, and you could see it from the mountain. I used to get out in the middle of the night from the hearing the bomb, and I never thought I would see my parents again or my other siblings. That's it. There's no hope. I'm gonna see anyone. Just lost my brother, and now I'm in the mountain taking care of my 6 years old brother with nothing there, and dealing, looking at the bombs, and couldn't help anything. I wanted to stop all this bombing, to went on my knees and prayed that they will be alive, that I will see them one day. I cried to God that I will see my parents one day or my siblings. The one day that happened, I was in a playground and I was alone. And that night we had a really, really hard bombing, like nonstop. And my brother caught him eating, digging in the garbage to eat because we had no food. And he's crying on my shoulders. He wants his
Oh.
mom. And looking at his eyes and seeing the fear in him. And I'm a child myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was too much for me to deal with that. But I assured him everything is going to be okay. And I sent him to play with the children. And I sat on a bench with the tree behind me. And from the depths of the darkness in my heart, I looked up to the heavens and crying from emptiness, from fear, from darkness, from loneliness, from not knowing what's going to happen, how I'm going to take care of my 6 year old brother. And sure enough, because I surrendered completely 100% to my higher self, to God, to whatever you want to call it, to something bigger than myself and
Mm-hmm.
anything else that I know, I surrendered completely. And that moment of deep surrendering, not just surrendering, oh, I'm surrendering, a deep, deep surrendering from a child, an innocent child,
Mm-hmm.
a light appeared around me.
Wow.
And that light, when it appeared around me, I felt all protected like a bubble around me. And I couldn't hear anything anymore. I wasn't hearing the bomb. I wasn't hearing anything around me. All I could feel like something different. And that beautiful light filled my heart. I saw like a small ball of light coming around me and just filled my heart. And that moment, I understood that God gave us the spirit, and that was a spirit came in me. I couldn't explain it at that moment, but it's like knowing. It's something like I knew, but I don't know how to explain it. Does that make sense? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a child, and it's like I inhaled that beautiful light, ignited inside of me. And from that moment, I felt I was protected and my life was saved so many times. In
Wow.
that moment, I understood the meaning of having that light that I needed to protect.
Mm-hmm.
Because that light, when I protect, it protects me, you see? And I just felt different, different than anyone, normal people who didn't experiences. I'm sure a lot of people experienced, but at that moment nobody else experienced. I didn't know how to explain it. For a week and two, I felt like I was flying. I was
Wow.
like in the air because it was so powerful that I just felt different. I felt like
Mm-hmm.
something holded me up, something filled me with light. And I think that helped me throughout my life to understand to understand that spirit inside of me. I have to protect it. And it sure enough protected me. And when I get the opportunity to come to the United States, and it was an easy journey being in the United States because I didn't get any help here. I was a refugee. I had to find my way and believe that light that guided me to be one day the voice of the children, to
Mhm.
to have a purpose in life. And I understood that we have a purpose. We all have a purpose, but there are two purposes. One is your life purpose, and the other one is your soul purpose. And we could talk about
Mm.
that a little bit later.
And what would you say your soul purpose is now? Has it shifted since the 12-year-old girl that you were when you had that experience of the light in the mountains? Or has it remained constant?
It's more, it's stronger because I understand it better. I'm able to express it better. I'm able to talk about it without feeling like somebody's going to look at me like weird, like what she's talking about, right? I understand it and I believe it because this, the only thing is what kept me going,
Yeah,
so it's getting stronger and understanding the soul purpose. So there is two purpose, like I said, your daily purpose,
yeah,
your children, your business, your work life, your you want to spend your life in security, whatever it is, your daily purpose, your life purpose. But then there is a soul purpose that we're being given, which is soul, soul. Your soul purpose
yeah,
is to take care of your spirit.
yeah.
That is the main soul purpose is. We were born to nurture that spirit inside of us. And that is the purpose. The true purpose is to take care of it. And there is a way to take care of that. It's not something you can buy a house for it to take care of it or hire a nurse if you needed help. It's not your daily purpose. It's your soul purpose. And that is a very deep thing that I knew, and I followed that I followed that soul purpose that helped me to still be alive today, no matter what happened. Does that make
And
sense?
no, yeah, absolutely. And does your soul purpose relate back to the conversation that you had with your brother Robert? Because I know he gave you this hope that you could be this
Yes.
amazing person that would teach others
I
how
think
they
we
could live
all
their
we
lives.
all get messages about our soul purpose, but we don't understand it at that
Mhm.
moment. We just don't absorb what it is. And I think that's what I'm doing now is helping people understand that there is a soul purpose you carry. There is
Mhm.
a soul purpose that you need not to miss. And
Mhm.
always focusing just on your daily purpose. I do focus on my daily purpose, but my soul purpose stays the way it is, even stronger.
Wow.
Understanding your soul purpose will get you to your daily purpose.
Mhm. Mhm.
Does that
And
make
what would
sense?
you describe your soul purpose to be today?
My sole purpose to be today is to convey and deliver the message that I received. Um, how does it experience? Maybe not receive
Yeah.
this experience because a lot of people experience what I experienced, and a lot of people saw the light of God. I mean, basically, because that was it's out of this earth, and it came from the depth of being surrounded.
Mhm.
And it didn't come because I was special. It came that happened that I really surrounded and
Mhm.
experienced that. So it just, my purpose today is just to really share that beautiful experience and bring awareness, help the children believe that when it's okay to surrender, it's okay, and you when you do, you are going to receive the same. You're going to experience the same thing that I experienced, and that can help you throughout your life. And I think it's the reason why I'm alive today. There is a
Wow.
reason why I'm alive, because if people experience what I experience and understand the depth of it, they can overcome anything.
And I'd love to go back to the time when you moved to America, because I know the previous conversation we focused a lot on your history through the war, but how you have used the power that you found through that experience of the miracle of light to overcome dyslexia, to write a book. Oh, I'm not sure if we would call it overcome, because you've just got on with life. Dyslexia is dyslexia, isn't it?
Doesn't
But
go away.
you've just worked through it, because there's so many amazing people out there with dyslexia, is you've not let it limit you.
Hmm.
And I wonder if you could share your journey from being the child that you were to the transition into America, and how that has shaped where you are today, if you wouldn't mind sharing
No, I
your
won't mind
insight.
that, because truly sometimes I sit back and I even tell my husband, the things that I'm doing today, it's has nothing to do with me. It really has nothing to do with Aimmee personally. It has something to do with believing and following what I am supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
My intuition gets stronger from that experience. My inner voice, I hear, okay, well, you need to write a book. Well, come on, how am I going to write a book having only fourth grade education, severe dyslexia, not just dyslexia, my dyslexia is severe. At times, if I'm tired, it could be very, very, very difficult to stay focused on what you're doing.
Sure.
And oh, extremely difficult.
Hmm.
But because of my experience when I was 12 years old, because of what I saw, I have the belief that no matter how I feel, I am guided.
Hmm.
And if I'm guided to do something, the how will appear. I know why, because I'm receiving that.
Yeah.
And not only writing a book, I have my magazine, which is accessible from any library in the world. People are reading it from all over the world right now. I started a magazine. I don't read magazines. I'm not a reader. I don't read. I educate myself through videos.
Yeah.
I educate myself through my thinking, through listening to what God is telling me to do, but I'm not a reader.
Hmm.
And I end up writing a book and creating a magazine from nothing. I had
Yeah.
no idea how to start. I just heard that you need to empower humanity through education, inspiration, and life transformation programs. So I created a lot of things behind just my book. Now, I don't want to come across here with telling you everything I'm doing, but the question is, how did I do this? Again, is because of my belief and training to listen to my
Hmm.
intuition, training to connect, training to, we all connected. There's no doubt about it. But training yourself to believe and just believe, not what other people are telling you, what you're hearing. What
Yeah.
is your purpose? Knowing your purpose, you can be guided if you don't allow interference from outside. And that's what I did. I throughout my life, I just listened to that inner voice, listened to what I'm receiving from God, and just was guided. And I believe that. When I came to the United States, people didn't think I could make it. I had $200 in my pocket. I mean, it's a long story, but people were literally, my ticket, I couldn't go back to my country, and literally said, we'll buy you a ticket to go back, because here you're not refugees. You don't have anything. If you get sick, what you're going to do? You have less than $200. You don't have education. You don't have
Hmm.
any skills. You have 10-year-old daughter to raise. I was couch homeless. At one time, the female of the family where I asked for help, they helped me, but they had to put me and my daughter, she still remember, in the closet, in their closet all night long, because the male of the house didn't want to take responsibility to help. So he had enough, no judgment, it's fine. But we had to sit in the closet. We couldn't even use the restroom, so he couldn't see us.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, but then yet that inner voice says, you need to stay.
Mhm.
You need to stay. Nobody understood why, but I knew why. There
Mhm.
is something here I needed to stay.
Mhm.
And persevered. I learned how to, the ABC. I didn't know the ABC. I knew how to count from 1 to 10. That's it. Um, Everything I did is for reason. I watch television is to hear the language.
Mhm.
I heard people talking, ask questions. What this mean? What this mean? What this mean? I persevered until I found my way.
Mhm.
I found an angel, my husband. He's American, but I call him an angel because he's supposed to be that angel. He's not an entrepreneur. He wasn't a rich
Mhm.
guy. He was just an average, loving, caring person that he hugged me with love. He discovered, he said, you're very, I see you're like an entrepreneur. So we started a business. And then from there, I got home, I got driving a new car. And then one day I was driving on the freeway and something hit me. And I took my car, parked it in the desert. And I heard my inner voice telling me, you need to share your story to inspire others. Because it's unbelievable where I came from
Yeah.
and where I was. I was
Yeah.
running the whole business. And I came home, I told my husband, I need to write a book. He said, you never read a book in your life. I understand you're an entrepreneur, you're smart and everything, but do you know what it takes to write a book? I said, no, but I know there is a reason I heard that. And sure enough, I found my way, didn't give up, and I showed him year and a half later. I dropped the book in front of him. And I don't believe I did it. I believe I was guided.
Yeah.
And I got angels around me.
And it was such a beautiful read, your book that you wrote.
Thank you.
Honestly, I was crying from I think the third or fourth page.
And you
But
know what? This is the old one you read. This the new
yeah.
one. The new one. I actually used technology. And the new book, the old one, it talks about, I really didn't understand
Mhm.
completely how to write book, right? But it's still, I have 5 stars on Amazon.
Mhm.
Now, this is the difference. God wanted me to practice first, I guess, maybe put my thoughts on the paper, but the message wasn't there. And finally, after many years, over a decade, I got the message when I received the awards. And I'm like, oh, I'm receiving those awards. I need to add them in the book. By adding those in the book, opened my heart and my mind, and I start to download and receive more of sharing her perspective, the 12-year-old perspective, sharing the beginning of the story of my life, so they can understand how many miracles already I was saved many times before the war. And
Wow.
going back now, that's why it's the miraculous story of the 12 years old. Because
Mhm.
I'm not supposed to be in this life before the war. Looking at my story, now I'm able to share it in different light,
Mhm.
in different perspective. I'm able to share what happened when I was giving birth to other women that they were giving birth. I'm able
Mhm.
to share their story. I'm
Mhm.
able to share the story when we were under the bunker for 7 days. What happened to children? What happened with my daughter? What happened to my 6 years old brother? How he
Mhm.
suffered through the war?
Mhm.
How children through my story how children paid the price. So I'm still telling my story, but I'm telling it in different perspective. I'm
Mm.
bringing more about children. I'm bringing more about their life, what happened to them
Mhm.
as well.
Mhm.
And again, through my story.
Mhm.
So it's more depth in it, more
You're kind of
understanding
seeing
how.
light from the shadows with the power of the light that you have shining inside of you, because it feels like you are, um, shining your light into areas of darkness that you previously haven't been able to,
Yeah,
because you didn't have that awareness of where you could shine your light. And you mentioned when you first wrote your book, you were learning, and now you've learned how to use your light to
exactly.
shine it more brightly, and go into
Yeah.
the darkness that some people might even be afraid to go into,
And it's
um,
difficult.
because it is really difficult. But unless you've been there and you have a light like you do, um, it's very difficult for people to do it when they're still in the darkness, isn't it?
Yes. And but I am not in the darkness. That's the
No.
beauty is when I bring back those stories, it just feel like a different person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like almost I'm crying for her and the children who suffered. I am
Yeah.
the adult now trying to protect that little girl inside of me
Yeah.
and trying to tell the world how hard it is. And when I got the vision of writing, doing a song, the not song, the anthem for Tears of
Yeah.
Hope, 10 years ago, I chose the right person who's gonna sing it, who was supposed to sing it,
Yeah.
Stephanie Thompson. I called her and I said, "Come help me write it." And she said, "Well, I'm not a writer." I said, "No, no, this is not a song. This is a message.
Yeah.
You just need to help me write it. You're better than you're supposed to be, and you know about this stuff more than I do."
Yeah.
Anyway, 10 years later, we did that song 10 years ago. It was one musician's playing it, and but it wasn't there yet. The message wasn't complete there. It took 10 years. To 2021, I told my husband and Stephanie, I need now is the time, just received it now. It is time to bring back the Tears of Hope anthem. They both believed it because they know everything I receive usually happened. And not even 2.5 weeks later, the right person, the right person appeared.
Wow.
And from one musician playing the anthem with the computer to over 70.
Wow.
And Emmy and Grammy winners mix the music.
Yeah. And it's
And I
so
have to say,
powerful.
thank you. You watched it. I let you
I
watch it
did. I
because
was
it's not public
crying
yet.
because it's so powerful and so moving, and it brings children to the fore in the anthem, and makes them puts them front and center, and really shares your story through the song and the music that they've put together. The whole thing is just incredible.
Yeah, it's just so blessing to know that when you hear what God wants you to do, you will receive the right people will show up
Hmm.
and will appear if it is the time. They say in God's time. Yes, it is in God's time. I received the message 10 years ago, but it wasn't ready. And I also received it was not ready. Something
Hmm.
was blocking it.
Hmm.
And sure enough, when I was ready and I looked at my husband and Stephanie, I said, "Is ready now." Sure enough, it proved to me that I get angels. I get people to help. And like I said, from one musician to 72, over 70. And it just I would never imagine this is could happen.
Mm.
It's beyond me. I'm not
Mm.
in the music business. I
Mm.
have no idea about that industry. I'm learning more now, but And then the video editing.
Mhm.
I tried the video editing. I usually have a lot of resources because I have my TV show, and it's just the editing wasn't perfect. Wasn't perfect. I could not release it. Then someone from Canada, which is related to me, I was wanted to ask for some help, some insights maybe to make the video better. And from nowhere, he said, I'm coming down to help you with this. He traveled all the way to Vegas to help me. And all these people volunteered. Everything is volunteered. That's why I'm giving 100% of the profit.
Mhm.
So it was meant to be for him to come. I tell you why. Because he lived in the war too.
Wow.
So he was able to listen to what I'm saying and turn it into what needs to be. I had a lot of things ready for him, but
Mhm.
I needed more. I knew I needed more. And then when he came in, he put his touch and he said to me, Aimmee, this is the best project I ever worked on
Wow.
because I felt every moment when I was editing the video.
Mhm.
And we
Mhm.
worked together so and harmonic because that's why it's beautiful because it was so peaceful working with him and
Wow.
working with Stephanie and working with Ray. I mean, I worked with the children. I worked with Stephanie. I worked with Ray. I worked with Serge, and it became like a team of loving and caring people to put this project together.
Mhm.
And I didn't do that.
Do you know, I think I love that because it goes back to your time in the mountains where you surrendered yourself, and all of the projects that have really gone and, you know, a higher level for yourself. It sounds as if you've surrendered yourself to the process and that the process will happen because
You
you're
know,
not trying to be anything but yourself. You're just allowing things to come to you.
thank you.
And
I
I
didn't
think
think
so
of it that
often,
way.
yeah, well, I think
Thank you.
so often as
I'm
entrepreneurs,
used to surrounding now. It's just like a, but you got it. You got it right. You you really got it right. Because I did sit. I just like, okay, you brought me the right person who could create this beautiful, magnificent music. Stephanie have a beautiful voice. For this song, I just couldn't ask for somebody else to sing it the way her
yeah,
voice is, and it's just perfect. The person who helped me with the video, he's experienced war himself, and he understood as a child. He understood the meaning of this anthem. So it's like I surrendered. Yep.
yeah. And I think it's so important as entrepreneurs, we often feel as if we have to do everything. You know, we
Yeah.
get into this mindset of it's all about, you know, my vision, and we can be quite closed if we're not careful to asking for help. But the fact that you had already that experience of surrendering yourself to the whole other process, to the power beyond yourself, has really empowered you to empower humanity.
Yes. Yes. Now let's put it this way. See, the surrendering. It's there is. If you don't mind, I could share this with people because I think it's very important to understand what kind of surrendering. Even when I surrendered to the music, I said, no, this is not the right music. I let it go because my ego would say, get it out, do this, do this. I didn't push it at all the first time.
Yeah.
But when I came back to it, when I felt it, I surrendered to the idea.
Okay.
But the work I had to put in. So it
Yeah.
was a lot of work, a lot of, because people, can see can understand you have a vision, you have this as you want to do, but it's still you have to convey to them. You have to make decisions.
Yeah.
You have to work hard. I mean, I worked hard with all of them. I
Yeah.
had to navigate. Uh, I could, if I surrendered completely to them, it's not their mission. You
Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
their mission was to share their talent with me.
Yeah.
But the whole vision, it's my vision. So
Yeah.
therefore, I need to drive it. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? I
Oh
needed
yeah.
to tell Stephanie how I would like her to sing it. She came to me, how would you like me to sing it?
Yeah.
So I had to guide that. The
Yeah.
music, how would you like to feel the music? Then I had to guide that back
Yeah.
and forth. The video, I had to go back and forth and share and get out of him more. He get ask me questions. So three of them, when they helped me with this project, they were stand by knowing that they have the talent, but your vision cannot be explained to them.
Yeah.
You, as the person, you have to take the responsibility to deliver your mission, your vision to them,
Yeah.
and communicate with them, bring the best of them out. So I was able to listen to my guidance. What do I need to say to Stephanie
Yeah.
to bring the best of her out?
Yeah.
What do I need to do to tell Ray to, because they ask me, they want guidance. They
Yeah.
want to know what my thoughts and my vision is. So I was surrendering to my guidance, if you will.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Oh
So,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so when you have a business, you could say, well, I'm going to surrender and have some other people take care of things. It would never work, because in that kind of surrendering, you are giving them the vision to do it the way they like to do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that happened to me in the business.
Yeah.
So, do you surrender to your guidance? And then your guidance will be able to communicate with the people who have the talent to give you what you want. You
Yeah.
don't surrender to the other people. You
No,
see the
no.
difference?
Yeah,
You see
yeah.
the difference? Yes.
It's
And
that
I learned
internal
that.
guide, that soul, that you know, the soul that you spoke about that will guide
Yes.
you, but you
I
have to
will guide
surrender
you.
to it.
You have to surrender to yourself
Mhm.
in order to explain to others what your vision is.
Mhm.
But when
Mhm.
you surrender to others to take care of things because you're supposed to surrender, I tried that. It didn't do it, because I didn't want people to think my ego is too big, so I need to surrender to them.
Mhm.
And then when I did, I wasted years of
Wow.
my life, because each one of them brought me what they thought supposed to be, not what the real vision is.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense? And
Absolutely
it
it
just
does.
didn't work. It
No.
never worked that way. So I learned to surrender to my inner voice and ask for guidance. How do I need to express myself to the talented Stephanie, Ray, Serge? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
So
I
therefore, it came from me
yeah.
when I surrendered to let them hear and guide them. I
Yeah.
asked for guidance, not just for me, because I knew how I'm gonna guide, how what I needed to do, but I asked to guide me to guide my team,
Yeah.
if that
Yeah.
makes sense. And also, I have a
Absolutely.
team with the website too. So
No, absolutely. It's like you are your guide, your own
yes,
personal guide up the mountain, but you need to know what support team you need in order for you to accomplish your goal to get to the top.
yeah,
But you're still going to do it.
yes. And it took a lot of work. Over a year and a half.
Mhm.
A lot of work. I got testimony from Emmy and Grammy winners about it. People like yourself, you were tearing when you were watching it. Um, it's not for everyone, but it's for the people who's ready to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd love to sort of talk about the mission of that anthem, which is to support war affected children. And I'd love to go back to you as a war affected child. What did you learn about yourself when you revisited your 12-year-old self as you are today? What was, because I know you went and rewrote the book
Yes.
to go through the eyes of yourself as a 12-year-old. What did you learn about your younger self when you went back on that journey into the eyes of a 12-year-old?
That's a very deep question, and that's why you're a doctor. That's a very deep question. I learned a lot about myself. One thing I learned about the 12-year-old, I learned she turned her always. She was suffering in the school, and she wanted to become a teacher to help children. She suffered from the war. She wanted to turn around and help children who suffered in the war. And I learned about her compassion and feeling of others more than herself. I learned that she always took it, okay, this is what I need to do in order to replace the pain, right? I had a pain with dyslexia. I wanted to become a teacher one day. I had a pain with the war. I want to help children. So how can she turn her pain into gain by helping others? And I think that's one thing. It amazes me. How could that 12-year-old can have those thoughts before even the war? And I think because I was always deeply connected with God, I always was felt, even though, I don't bring any religion or political to the song or any of that, or my personal belief, always felt we are one. We're human being, and I'm supposed to help another human being. I believe in love. I learned about her. She's full of love. She's full of love. And when she experienced that light, it really activated even more of her light, because we all have light. And I want everybody to be activated. I want them to activate that light, because it's such a beautiful experience. And you feel protected. You feel like you have something around you. At times throughout my life, I talk about it more in this book now, the new one, because I was a little bit shy not to talk about it. Like I said, I did not want to go into religion or political. I just want a message, message of love.
Yeah.
And I did not want to get deeper into the experience I experienced. I did wrote it, but it wasn't deep enough. Now I'm writing more deep about love, about my experience with God, my connection with God, and how can you get connected? Because we all have it. We all are vehicle. Like every car have a steering wheel. Every car have wheels. There is no one car doesn't have the same thing that the other person have. Right? So we all have the capability and the opportunity to experience something such beautiful. And now I'm not afraid to share and tell you that. I just didn't know how. It took me time to get it out. It took me time to share it. It took me time to understand how to share it and find the courage, because criticism is going to happen. But yet, if I feel if I can help just one person experience that light, that will be enough for me.
Yeah, and
it's worth it.
I love that you said that, because there's many guests that have been on the show, Alison Shalou recently, who have been on a spiritual journey where initially they felt the need to suppress the spiritual element of themselves for fear of being judged. And I think quite a lot of us have this fear of being judged because we have a spiritual connection that maybe we can't actually fully explain ourselves. And the judging starts from within because we can't explain it. And then we project that judgment outwards to the point that we don't really allow ourselves to express ourselves in the way that we need to expand our light, like you say, and shine it more brightly. And I find it really curious that we as adults create this state that we can't spiritually express ourselves, when often as children we are deeply spiritually, emotionally
connected. Yeah.
Right. At some point in our lives, somebody tells us it's not okay to express yourself in that way, and we start diverging away from our core purpose or our core values or who we are or how we can shine our light. And I love the fact that you've been able to go back to your 12-year-old self and go back to understanding who little Aimmee was and how much power she had inside of her at such a young age. And she just need to give herself permission to shine it. So I love that. I know we haven't even asked this question, and I love to ask this for all my guests. Given your journey that you've been on to where you are today, what would you say optimal brain health is for you now personally?
It is the most important thing. I mean, if you don't keep your brain healthy, you don't keep your thoughts, you don't feed your brain what it needs to, you can't express, you cannot help yourself in order to help others. So it is very important, because when we are not capable of helping ourselves, we can't help others. And we're responsible first and foremost is to take care of what we've been given. We have been given the brain, we're given the heart, we're given every organ in our body. It's important. And if we don't take care of ourselves, then we're not capable of taking care of our family, loved ones, our mission. And this comes with the true purpose. Our soul purpose is to take care of the light inside of us. And that includes your body, includes your brain. And without that, you're not taking care. If you're not taking care of your brain, you think your brain is not important, just you need to take care of your heart. Your brain, it receives messages, receives the connection. So if you don't dust it up and clean it up and make it clear, whether with food or thoughts or getting help, then you're not going to be able to download. Your connection stops, and therefore you're choking your inner light. Because your inner light need to have that connection. It's like having internet, but then you have the box for the internet, but you don't have the connection. It's not going to do you any good. You can connect. In order to connect with God, with your higher self, with something is bigger than you can ever imagine, you have to keep your connection to that box you have to watch the television, right? You have to keep that. And I think your brain health is the most important connection you have. It's the tools.
I love that.
It means a lot.
I love that. And I think, you mentioned the importance of taking care of yourself, but having the connection is so key, because often in today's world, we kind of think taking care of yourself is just self-care, which can be very insular and very selfish if you're not careful. But taking care of yourself in the true sense is getting people to support you taking care of yourself. So it's not
Yes.
just you
Well,
taking care of yourself. Like
I
your
think,
story of being in a cupboard with your daughter. You were
yes.
taking care of yourself and your daughter,
Mhm.
but a lady was helping you in order to take care of yourself, if that makes sense.
Yep, yep. And I think if you don't take care of yourself, it's actually selfish.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's selfish
indeed.
not to take care of yourself.
It
You
is.
know, take care of your brain that God gave you. It's selfish if you don't take care of that, because you're not taking care of the baby, the things like it's like you have a baby and you're not taking care of it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
will be selfish, right?
Yeah.
So it's very important to take care of
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. And your
Thinking that,
brain,
okay, I'm being selfish is if I have to take care of myself, I have to be being selfish, is the opposite. If you don't take care of it, you are selfish.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And I love the fact that you talk about your brain and connection, because it's your 5 senses that you connect
Yes.
with, that your brain helps you connect with in order to translate what's going on around you into your spiritual experience as well. And with that, I'd love to know
And into
how
your
do
heart. See,
yeah,
there is the differences before. We cannot drive a car without an engine,
yeah,
right? So you have to have the combination. You have to have the heart connect with your mind, connect with your brain, and the brain will download to your heart. So there is a reason why we have them. There
yeah,
is a huge reason why we have them, and we have to take care of it.
yeah. I love that. And how did you help yourself as a 12-year-old take care of your brain health in the context of the emotional trauma and the psychological trauma you're experiencing? And could you give some advice to children out there and parents of children who have been traumatized through war?
Well, before I give them advice, each one of us deal with drama differently.
Of course.
But I think one thing will help all of us, which it did help me, is when I focused on others.
Hmm.
I focused on my brother at 6 years old. Focusing on him helps me
Hmm.
to, I had to survive for him too.
Hmm.
Because if I dropped down, I couldn't give him a hug, I couldn't comfort him, right? So I put the focus on him, and then I broke down by myself, right?
Hmm.
But what will help you is to really surrender to God,
Hmm.
surrender, and allow the light to help you, allow God to guide you, and you will be guided.
Hmm.
No matter who you are, how you think, we all experience different emotions. But the day that you really get your praise to the heaven and look up and then say, I am yours. You help me, you guide me. You
Hmm.
give yourself completely, not a little bit, 100%, 200% of yourself to be guided. You will be guided.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
will be helped. Now, do you have to do your homework? Yes, you do. Again, if you're given a car, you need to put gas in it or maybe charge it. You have to do something.
And you have to
You
take your
can,
driving test.
you have to, yes. And then it's like I talk about this all the time. God has given us the map. If I want to go from here to California, there is a map. It's been given, right?
Yeah.
But how to follow the map? You are the one who's going to drive. God is not going to drive you. God
Yeah.
is going to guide you. You will be guided down throughout this journey you're going from here to here. You need to stop and maybe see psychologists if you need to.
Hmm.
Not having a drugs and alcohol to help you, because that will break your engine. But you need to stop and make your stops accordingly how you feel. If you feel you're running out of gas, you find a place to fill your car up,
Recharge.
right? Yeah. So God gives you can't rely, say, God did this to me. No. If you're driving and you're running out of gas and you don't stop to put gas in your car, has nothing to do with God. See, God says, knock on my door. So you're the one who's going to knock on the door. Life is going to happen. Life will happen if you believe it, you don't believe it. God is not responsible for us. So I understood that I'm responsible for me and things are going to happen. God didn't kill my brother. People killed my brother who are not connected with God. So what can we do to stop that? Is we connect ourselves and start teaching others to connect. And when the others connect, slowly, slowly, we will have less war. We will be living in peace, right? Instead of blaming God about that, I never, ever, ever, ever in my life blamed God about what happened. And you read the book, so you understand what I'm saying. I couldn't blame God every day, but I didn't, and I won't. And I would never will, because it has nothing to do with God, what happened to us. It has to do with the human being. And that's why I empower humanity, because of humanity, what makes things bad. We make things good and we can make things bad.
Yeah. And that power resides within us.
Exactly. And then if we could share that with others, if we could encourage others, we will have more peace.
Yeah.
So that's what I will give advice, is to surrender. Don't blame God about things. See accept what happened and say, what can I do to make things better? How can I make the world better? And focus on others. When you focus on others, you're no longer the victim.
Yeah.
You're no longer the victim. Reach out. It's okay to put gas in your car. Reach out. Reach out and let people help you. And I'm so grateful that you are stepping in, like any other angels are stepping in. I have asked you, and you said, I'd be happy to help people learn how to release stress. So there is tools too. It's not only God. God gave us the tools to use them. And I'm so grateful people like yourself who can reach other people. So if you like to share some, I'd be happy to hear.
Oh no, I think it's so important that we have so much power inside of ourselves, and I think we often use it against either ourselves or against others. And I think the important thing to do, particularly for children of war, is to use the power to support each other and to empower children to tap into their power, to release the light. And we can do this together.
Yes, and then the
it's
angels
the power
will
of
appear.
connection, as you mentioned, that empowers the human race to be more humane.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I think that's so important. And with that, Aimmee, how can people get hold of you to learn more about the Tears of Hope Anthem, how they can get involved in supporting children who've been affected by war, and your Empowering Humanity mission?
They could reach, they could learn all about everything I'm doing by going to empoweringhumanity.movement.com. Empoweringhumanity.movement.com, where they could learn more about the Anthem, about the upcoming book, and also learn about what you're bringing to the table. And I'm gonna start to have a weekly prayers for the victims of war, to help to reach out to them through the prayers and get like-minded people to pray. No particular religion here, nothing like that. I just want everyone to get deep into their heart and connect with God, and so we could send the prayers to the children and mothers to find their light.
Mm.
And this is where they could meet the team. I'm not the only one running this. I have a team of people, experts like yourself, who can help. We could all put our hands together and help humanity see light through darkness. So empowering humanity movement.com.
And you know, Aimmee, I'm so honoured that you've invited me to help people, and I'm really looking forward to being able to show people how they can unchain their pain and how they can support each other in doing that and find comfort and solace in reducing and downregulating their stress response through the power that they have inside of them. Aimmee, it's been an absolutely fascinating, tear-jerking conversation. I had my tissues ready. I thought I might be streaming. I managed to hold on.
Let it be tears of hope and tears of
hope.
Joy.
Indeed.
That we're stepping in to do our part to make a difference in the world. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're most welcome. Remember, everyone, this show is all about brain health, unchaining your pain. You're not stuck with the brain you have. You have power to make it better. And Aimmee has kindly been here to share her journey to show you how. Thank you, Aimmee.